There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Ooh, what's up and welcome into episode number 38 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Kurtzberger. Today is Thursday, September 29th. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Folks, this is the week. I'm saying it right now. We're hitting 1,000 subs this week. It's because of you guys. We had a great week last week, sitting at about 940 right now. If you are not subscribed to this channel right now and you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit it. It costs you no money. It costs you no money. That's all it is. It helps us trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. You can find us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, however you get your podcast. Boys, I'm telling you right now, I'm fired up, and here's why. Turn off my TV in the background, screwed up. I'm fired up because I'm moving on. I don't care that we lost to Kansas State. I'm over it. I don't care. I'm not happy with what happened with David Hicks today, but I'm moving on. I'm moving on from the Kansas State loss. How we feeling, guys?
Loss is loss.
I'm still a little depressed, guys.
Yeah, I moved on.
I've not moved on either.
No.
Okay, well, here's the thing. It's already happened. So, like Brent told us, they're going to be judged on how they respond to it.
Yeah.
And what a perfect way to respond to it than with the TCU squad coming up. And we'll talk about that game in just a little bit. But first, I want to get to some big news of the day in Sooner Nation. And that is that 5-star defensive lineman from Katy, Texas, David Hicks, committed to Texas A&M over the University of Oklahoma on Wednesday afternoon. He was slated to go to OU for a long time. A lot of the recruiting experts picking him to head to OU to keep on building on what is a solid 2023 class. And at the last second, he flips to Texas A&M. There was a report out by Kerry Murdoch of Sooner Scoop that Hicks did not inform the OU staff that he switched to Texas A&M, but he later on clarified that about 10 minutes before Hicks went on to ESPN, he got in contact with Todd Bates and told him that he was going to Texas A&M. So that's where we are. I'll open up the floor. How we feeling? Not ideal.
Not great, man.
Mark on mute.
Mark.
That's the game, though. And I don't want to hear anyone talk about the bag because that's always going to be there. That's never going to change. OU doesn't have the number of donors. It doesn't have the volume of cash that it can just throw at these people.
Correct.
So that's always going to be the case. We have to overcome it. And we lost out on this one, but it doesn't make a difference. Like for the next one that we lost out on this one, it's the same battle every single time. And every single time other schools are going to have more money. We just have to be able to make the right pitch and sell the right thing. And we all thought that was going to work with David Hicks, right? That's what worked with Colton Vasek. That's what's worked with PJ Adebawore. That's what worked with Jackson Arnold. We just didn't get this one. We were able to flip Anthony Evans in the 9th inning against Georgia. They were able to flip David Hicks from us in the 9th inning. Sometimes it's just that simple. And maybe it is the bag, but it's always going to be the bag. And we have to be able to beat that.
Yeah.
Besides the bag, though, he is a guy from Katy, an hour and a half away from the Aggies. He had a good relationship with the Aggies staff. A location is a big thing as well, in my opinion. If he was a guy from Tulsa, I think that he would have went to OU.
That's fair. I
got 7 figures says you're wrong.
Yeah, right.
Well, you said not to talk about the bags.
You said not to talk about the bag. You did say that, Mark.
I was
upset. I'm the problem.
I was upset, but then I realized I was upset because one, I didn't think he had talked to Todd Bates, and then the report came out that he did talk to Todd Bates, and I felt a little differently. And I had a friend call me and was complaining about this whole situation. He was mad at Hicks and even mad at Todd Bates and Brent Venables for not seeing this coming. And then when in reality, the report said that Todd Bates talked to him last night on Tuesday night, talked to David Hicks, and David Hicks was going to OU. And then today he flipped. Like, you can't be on top of this kid every second of every day. Like, stuff's
I've also
happen.
seen conflicting stuff.
You have
like a producer, someone on Twitter for the ESPN thing today, spent all day yesterday with him leading up to this, has said he knew it was A&M 3 days ago.
Wow.
David Hicks knew it was A&M 3 days ago. So I think there's a lot of conflicting stuff out there, and it's because David Hicks is a kid who is juggling a very difficult situation and probably didn't want to tell Todd Bates the truth until the storm was on him, right?
Yeah. Matt, get in there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna touch on. We always talked about the perspective of like the OU fans and school and all that, but we gotta think about the kid as well. He's 17 years old, about to make one of the biggest decisions of his life, and that's where to go to school and obviously further his, not only his football, but his academic career. So there's a lot more things that go into it. Yeah, does money play a factor? It's always going to, especially with now the NIL deals, and there's no regulation on it. So these kids have to make a decision, and they're life changing at this point, right? People used to have to go to college and then get ready for NFL. Now kids can make 7 figures throughout their college career and set up their families for success. So it definitely plays a part into it. It's definitely a big miss. My biggest thing is that this coaching staff is just even in the running for these types of players, that we're in the final 3, 4, 5 schools, when previous regimes, not so much. I mean, these are high caliber, highly sought after players. I mean, we're talking about this kid could have gone to Michigan, to Alabama, all the top schools, you name it. Just the fact that we're competing for these recruits, I think says it all at the end of the day. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you guys think that we're going to keep going after him, or is the bridge burned?
If Brent Venables' policy holds true, they're done with him. Because if he's committed to another school, then you got to take it as you would a guy commits to your school. That's how I see it.
I agree.
But that's a good question, Patrick. I don't know. And it would be interesting to hear him clarify this policy. I don't know. Ryan, anything to add?
Not really. I mean, I agree with most everybody here. I will say that I feel like this timing is extremely shitty. And like, that's not David Hicks' fault or anything like that. But it's just like the last 5 days have not felt wonderful already. And then you have this on top of it. And then you have like Colton Vasek tweeting out like heartbroken emojis. And you're just like, oh my God, we needed something after this last weekend.
Yeah.
But we don't have it.
So I will say this. The last thing I have on this is that if indeed Hicks did inform Todd Bates 10 minutes before he was about to go on stage, and that's the first time that they knew of it, I mean, that's a big time move by A&M, because only giving OU a 10-minute heads up that like, hey, I'm done, that you don't give Todd Bates the chance to pitch again or talk to him. And that's a great recruiting move by Texas A&M. You got to give him credit, because if that report is true, that's big boy recruiting, and OU's got to get used to that, because they're going to go up against people. Because if Mark, what you said is true, and it's been he's known for 3 days, and he just let Todd Bates know 10 minutes before. I mean, dude, that's somebody in his ear from A&M saying, don't contact them until you have to.
Don't let them even have a foot in the door. Don't start a conversation.
Yeah. Tell them, but not right now. Right. That's, I mean, because then A&M can save face, and even David Hicks be like, well, I informed them. I let them know. I had a conversation with them. When in reality, if he had that conversation 2 days ago, I think we're telling a different story right now. Let's move on to some OU football. The current team right now taking on TCU this week. Some news on the roster front. Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis are both going to be redshirting, according to Brent Venables. He cited Kobe McKenzie missing a lot of fall camp and Kip Lewis needing to get stronger as a reason for redshirting. And because of that, Brent mentioned that the linebacker room looking pretty thin in the depth department right now. So that's just the only redshirts that we've heard of so far or had confirmed. I'm
Why would he even say it?
I don't know.
What do you get out of saying?
And I don't know
hey,
what
we're redshirting these guys, because what happens next week if David Igwebu goes down with an injury?
I don't know, and I can't remember the question he was asked for him to even bring it up.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, I don't know what you gain from it. I don't know what the players gain from it. I don't think they gain anything from it, knowing that.
I mean, they've probably
redshirting.
already had those conversations.
Yeah,
right. If he knows just off the top of his head, hey, these are two linebackers that we're going to redshirt, there's probably a guy at every position that he knows they're going to redshirt, I would think.
I'm sure.
And the guys know it, but circumstances change, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird premature thing.
The thing that I don't understand about this, and I know you're over it, Mason, but I'm still not, is if we are talking about the LB room being pretty thin at depth and we're redshirting these two freshmen, like they didn't put in Jaron at all last week. And I'm just so confused as to why. And I don't want to rehash this again, but like with comments like this, it doesn't make any sense when you're talking about the lack of depth when you're not even playing some of the people you're not redshirting.
Yeah,
like, I don't understand that.
I see depth as also including talent, and he could be referring to like the talent's just not there.
I mean, that's part of it, because some dudes aren't even hitting the field.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think about for as many bodies as we've seen out there. For some guys to still not see the field, you got to be like lost right now if you're not on the field. Like you got to have no clue what you're doing. And that doesn't make me feel good about Kobe McKenzie or Kip Lewis right now. Kobe especially. Now, granted, Kobe's, a young guy. Like he'll get his feet under him eventually. I'm not worried about him in the sense of what his future holds. But just right now, like him not grasping completely. Let's talk about TCU. Okay. We're moving on from Kansas State. No one bring up Kansas State. You hear me?
Right.
Ryan, get
You're
your mind
looking
right.
at me.
Yeah, get your mind right. Okay, well, you can if you like.
In the context of being better.
Yeah, okay.
We have to.
That's fine. All right, so the captains for this game this week, Jonah Lualu, I still don't even know if I say his name right. Daniel Parker, Jordan Kelly, McCade Mattower. I can't believe McCade Mattower is a captain after the game he had last week, but that's beside the point. So those are your captains for the week. Guys, let's start off with OU offense versus TCU defense. What do you see? What do you like in those matchups? I will start with Mark. You look like you got some notes in front of you, so I'll start with Mark.
I do have some notes in front of me. So sort of similar to the teams pre-Kansas State. I kind of feel like this is a team that has some returning guys on their defense. There's 3 rotation pieces that come back on defense and a Georgia transfer. On the defensive line, specifically on the defensive line. The linebacker unit is returning their leading tackler from last year, D. Winters. He's an NFL draft guy. I don't know his number off the top of my head, but he's an NFL draft guy, so watch out for him. They also have a Navy transfer at linebacker named Johnny Hodges, who has pulled a starting position. He's a former lacrosse player, so he's quick as hell. And I think that...
Or maybe he's unathletic. I don't know.
I mean...
I'm just kidding.
Starting for TCU on defense. Yeah. Another thing, though, it's not Gary Patterson running that defense. So that 4-2-5 look we've seen, they're moving to a 3-down lineman kind of deal. And I just like seeing our offensive line have to deal with people, have to deal with problems as they're presented, because so far it's a very mixed bag of results there. Yeah. Gotta hope that they come out strong. That's where I'm focusing in offense versus defense.
So TCU through 3 games, only 5 total sacks. That kind of shocked me when I saw that number, especially when they played Tarleton State or someone like that. I think it was Tarleton State.
Yeah.
So you got to look for, they're going to drop a lot of people in coverage. Like you said, Mark, with 3-down linemen, this is going to be important for Dylan Gabriel in his growth as the Oklahoma quarterback. He's going to have to be accurate if they're going to drop that many guys into coverage. He's going to have to put the ball in certain positions. And if they're dropping 8, you're not going to get deep shots down the field every time. You're going to have to hit the underneath stuff that he wasn't hitting last week. It's going to be important to see if he can bounce back. And that's something that I'm looking for. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. Just looking at their last 3 games, I mean, they've played Colorado, beat them 38-13. They played Tarleton 59-17. And then they had a shootout just north of me here in Dallas against SMU. Like, probably playing a more formidable opponent, playing the Stangs. But looking at just the stats here, only giving up about 100 yards rushing on 20 plus attempts from each three of those games. Now, I don't know how much of a rushing offense Colorado and SMU truly have, but that's something that we really need to lean on in this week's game. Continue to lean on Eric Gray for what he showed, his burst, his shiftiness. Get that offensive line, especially if they're only going to have 3 down linemen on the field most of the time, like the scheme that Mark said. Those offensive linemen have to get up on secondary block on those linebackers, open those holes up, and hopefully we can get that run game going so DG can make those passes behind the defense.
Ryan, Pat, get in there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the TCU game against SMU, and I personally don't think their defense is that great. And I think offense is pretty good. I even think, not bringing up the game from last week, but the offense played well. And I think we'll be fine in this battle. Much more interested to see the other side.
You guys covered it. I just want to see the simple things done right, and I want us to get momentum early in the game.
Pat's better than us at this.
Yeah, I know. He's good at that. I want to see the running game do more. I know Eric Gray's had a really good couple of weeks, and I know, running for over 200 yards, you're like, Mason, what are you talking about? I want us to hit somebody in the mouth, come out after a loss, run for like 300 yards, just feed Marcus Major and Eric Gray and just dare them. What, Mark? What did I do?
Just the order that you put those two in. I love it.
Did I say Marcus Major first?
Yeah.
It's like a Freudian slip.
No Eric Gray love on this podcast. Except for
Dude,
this
I
guy
just
right
said
here.
he had 2 good games in a row.
Lots of love.
No, but
Lots
you
of
guys
love.
for all this Marcus
fair.
Major stock, you both just might as well get a room and kiss it out. You know what I mean?
Okay, Matt, are we rivals? Are we going to do this?
No, between us three, between this whole Eric Gray and Marcus Major thing for sure.
All right. So, look, it's a big game for Dylan Gabriel. He's got to be more accurate, like I said, and I think the running game needs to be better. I think the offensive line has got to push. If you watched the game last week, they got bullied. They got straight up bullied. And if you're going to get right, you better do it right now, because if you got Texas next week, and they're going to come at you. So figure it out right now, or else you're in big, big trouble for the rest of the year. Because respectfully, TCU isn't going to end towards the top of the conference this year. They're just not. So you better go out and you better dominate.
Better
up
take
front.
care of business.
Yeah, right now. Anything else on the TCU defense before we move on? Matt, is that a yes or no? Matt's doing finger guns if you're
I just
watching.
think that the biggest thing, offense has got to clean up the penalties, especially the offensive line.
God.
To stop killing drives. And we have to execute on third downs. We got to give our defense a little bit of a break. I get it. They should be in the best shape of their life, especially with Schmitty, but you can't expect the defense to be on the field 30, 40 minutes a game. That's just impossible for any team to do. The offense has to clean it up a little bit. Even if they're going to play high tempo, you either have to score or you got to at least execute some third downs, at least give the defense a little bit of a break.
I'd love to see us use a little bit more 2 tight end sets if they are going to come out small.
Good point.
And like y'all were talking about, let's beef it up a little bit and, go for 300. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? We're able to. We're capable of it.
Braden Willis loves the run block. Get
Loves
the dude
it
in,
now.
get him in the game. Let him do it. He's addicted to it. Love it. Move on to the OU defense against the TCU offense. I'm really, really, really looking forward to this matchup. I cannot wait to see how this defense responds. And we're going to learn a lot about them in this matchup. We'll start, Mark, I want to start with you again. What are you looking for?
Cool. So it's a little bit different than last week. Obviously, Adrian Martinez and running the football, we weren't able to stop that. Max Duggan is a little bit more like the things we've seen before during this year. The problem is he's really good for them this year. TCU's averaging 510 yards of offense, and he is number 1 in the country in passing efficiency, completing 77% of passes with no interceptions. He is playing really well. He's spreading the ball out. They have 5 guys with 7 or more catches. That's, I mean, good number, I think. And I think their scariest receiver is this. I think he's a freshman, Darius Davis. He is also their starting return guy for punts and kicks, I believe. And he's fast as hell. I watched him in the Colorado game, and I think he scored a touchdown on a punt in that one, and just fast and electric. So someone that the defense needs to watch out for. They can also run the ball.
Darius Davis, 80-yard touchdown against SMU as well.
There you go. He's fast. It's fast. They can also run the ball. They're averaging 215 on the ground per game. The thing that I'd say, and then I'm just going to be done, I'm sorry, guys, is according to whatever website I found earlier, they're only 100. It was College Football Reference, so it's reputable. They're only 121st out of 131 in strength of schedule so far. So they haven't, I mean, small sample, but
they ain't
maybe
played nobody, Paul.
Maybe SMU's not good. You know, we just don't know. We
don't know yet. Pat, what do you got, man?
Yeah, this is the best wide receiver core our secondaries had to deal with all year. So I'm excited to see what our coverage looks like. I thought it looked good last week. It was the best part of our defense last week. Deshaun White, especially in that cheetah position, providing coverage when he needed to. Really good stuff from him last week. So just can see, it'll be a good test for them. I'm excited to see that.
Matt?
Yeah, I think Mark hit on it. He pretty much hit on everything. So, Mark, thank you for covering that. You could have just took the whole segment for yourself. I'll try to get in where Mark didn't, but I'll have to go back to it. It's the rushing defense. It has to show up. It looked horrendous last week against Kansas State. And we talked about what we needed to do to stop the Kansas State offense. We have to do something similar to TCU, even though, like Mark said, Max is doing very good at the quarterback position. He hasn't played anyone. He hasn't played a secondary or a defense that we think OU can possibly be even after the step back from last week. So it's got to start with the rush defense, linebackers filling the hole. I said last week they were playing on their heels pretty much the entire game. I want to see them go back to Nebraska in some of those first games, dictating the offense of what TCU is going to do, playing aggressive, playing downhill, and first of all, stopping that rush defense.
Ryan.
I mean, everyone's touched on pretty much everything. I will say Chandler Morris returns. I know he's not going to start, but he's back from injury, and us OU fans know him. So I'm interested to see that. Both of these quarterbacks are combining for 76% of their passes. I know Mark threw that out there earlier for just Max, but Chandler is also extremely accurate. So I am interested to see how our secondary does against that. And I'm also interested to see, they're not running quarterbacks like Martinez is, but with they're watching our tape from last week, right? They are going to see how open a quarterback can get on the run, and they're going to try something around it. And I'm curious to see how we respond to that, because last week was just not acceptable around that area. So,
and you bring up a good point that leads me into my point. It's that David Ugwebu, Danny Stutzman got to show up this week. Like they gotta. It's a put up or shut up week for them, especially for me, for Danny Stutzman. I sang his praises, worshiped at the altar of Danny Stutzman. He had a bad week last week, plain and simple. He has to show up and play better this week, or else this team has got no shot, because you heard Brent say that they don't have depth at the linebacker position. So if Danny Stutzman and David Ugwebu are going out there and they're the only guys who you give a damn about and they can't play, we're dead. We're deader than dead. So they have to play well this week, and they have to dominate like they did in the first 3 games. I need to see Nebraska Danny Stutzman. I got to see Kent State David Ugwebu. I got to see those guys on that field, or else we're in big trouble for the rest of the year. I don't think we're in trouble against TCU. I think we're in trouble for the rest of the year if those guys don't figure it out, and it has to start on Saturday in Fort Worth. That's what I'm looking for.
One more thing I will add. I am interested to see if we can force any turnovers against this TCU offense, because they've only had 1 lost fumble all year, and this is the only turnover that they've had. And so I'm interested to see if we can push that and get us to the point where we can, get our defense off the field and get our offense back on.
I'd love to get back to tackles for loss. Y'all remember those?
Yeah,
Yeah, those
nice.
remember sacks? Remember sacks? You know,
I love sacks.
I just want him to wrap up, honestly. After last week, I just want him to wrap up and not hit somebody and fall off them. I really felt like I was watching Buki last week. I felt like there was like a million Bukis on the field just trying to lay somebody out and not like wrap up. It was driving me
Former
nuts.
Cincinnati Bengal tryout player.
That's how we remember him.
Can't make it.
Yeah. Anything else? I think special teams is going to be huge in this game. I think Marvin Mims, after a lot of fair catches last week, is really going to try to return some punts this week if we are able to force a bunch of them. And then on kickoff returns, I'd like to see Billy Bowman do what he's been doing. He's looked pretty well, or looked pretty good in his kick return game. I feel like he's due to return one because he's had a couple of returns of like 30 yards and he's looked really good. So I'd like to see Billy Bowman do that.
The tough thing is just how much of that is out of their hands.
You're
The
right.
way that, a punter can punt it to the sideline and a kicker can just blast it out of the end zone sometimes. That part's tough. I feel like K-State definitely was doing that on purpose, playing against our special teams.
All right, guys. One big thing. What are we looking for out of this game this week? Your one big thing. Ryan, I'll start with you.
you said me.
Yeah, Ryan.
Okay, all right, cool. I think for me, the biggest thing is I just want to see how this team responds. And I know we've been talking about that, but especially the defense, I want to see what this week did for them and what this loss did for them. Because as much shit as we give the old regime, they knew how to recover from a loss. They did. And other than last year was, a crapshoot. But other than that, if you look previously, we one foot out the door last year. But if you look previously, I mean, we would lose a game. We lost one game a year usually, and after that, we would bounce back. And I'm very interested to see if this team can tap into whatever Brent Venables is selling, and really go the extra mile, because they just got like thrown into the dirt. And let's see if they're strong enough to pick themselves up. So that's what I'm interested to see. And I want to see it mostly on defense.
For me, it's the offensive line. I want them to go out and hit somebody. And like I said, I want to see us dominate the line of scrimmage from the jump. They got pushed around last week. Their manlyhood was tested and they were dominated. So go up against this TCU team, prove to me, prove to everybody else that you're an offensive line that can dominate. And we'll find out. I hope I'm wrong, but they're making me look like an idiot for saying how good they were going to be at the beginning of the year, because they're lost right now. And they got all their guys. They're healthy. They're ready to go. So no excuses. Pat?
Urgency from the offense and no lateral or backwards passes. Forward passes only this week.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Pat. That's just not going to happen, man.
I know, but I want it to happen really bad because it wasn't working.
That's fair. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, that's a great one, Patrick. You actually set me up for this one.
Right.
You said a little bit earlier, it's starting out on the right foot. We have started every game flat-footed. We always get down a touchdown or two. It makes no sense when we're not waking up at the very start of the game. That's what you should have: the most energy, the most adrenaline, the blood pumping to play some Sooner football. It hasn't happened yet. Kind of like what you said, Mason. Let's come out them and let's punch them in the mouth in the first 5-10 minutes of the game.
And not get punched in the mouth.
And not get punched in the mouth. Exactly. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. It's hard to win games when you're down 14-0, no matter who you play. It's just hard. Go ahead, Mark, sorry.
Yours is mine, Mason. Offensive line. I want to see them come together and really take control of the game. I want to see both running backs break 100 yards. Why not? Let Javonte Barnes get into the game a little bit. That's it. You hit it really well.
Thank you. Comment down below on our YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. What is your one big thing that you're looking for this week? We read every single comment you guys leave. Really appreciate you interacting with this video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet.
Y'all went off.
You guys
did. Week. It was so much fun.
It was a fun time in the comments. We need to start making up a name for our comment section. Like
Oh, the way the yeah.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
going
We'll come
to
up
do
with
this.
something.
You're
We'll
going
come
to do
up with
this in
something.
real time.
No,
No, we're
no,
not.
that's
We'll
terrible
We'll figure
podcasting.
it out.
Give
We'll
us your
figure it
first.
out.
Give us your
We'll
first guess. Give us
No.
your first pick.
Program guys posse. That could be misconstrued. We're not going to do that.
But maybe that's
I
pretty
got
good.
something.
I mean, it wasn't bad for a first shot, you know?
It actually really was pretty good.
Yeah.
PGP.
Hey, I
Comment
just
down
had
below
one-
if you're a program guys posse member. What, Matt?
Yeah, I was going to say real quick. We haven't done this all year yet, but I'm going to put you guys on the spot.
Here we go.
'cause
Here it
we haven't
is.
done it yet.
No.
But we haven't
Oh,
given
no.
one score prediction for any of the OU games this year. So I want to hear what you guys
I don't
think
wanna.
the final score for the OU TCU game is. Mark, I'm going to start with you. What do you got?
Give me. I hate this.
Wait, we need to write it down, Mason. We got a pen and paper. Someone
All
can
right,
take
yeah,
some
I
notes.
got
when
it.
you
Got
get-
it.
when you have these scores.
Patrick's
Let's
got
just
it. Okay.
write it down on the outline, guys. I'm gonna go with 49-27.
Love it.
45-24 OU.
Patrick, what do you got? Note taker.
54-13.
Woo!
Yeah, it's like, I hate TCU.
Mhm.
50 what to 13?
54-13.
How we get into that?
don't worry
Points,
about it.
baby. Points.
Points.
Forward passes.
Pat, we love
18
Pat.
field
Forward
goals.
passes. I like it.
18 field goals. That's how we get to 54.
Ryan.
Patrick, what do you got?
Let's do 35-21.
A little bit closer. Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna go 48-25 because I think we're gonna give up some points, but I think we win by double digit for sure.
Ryan, what'd you say?
I
said
wrote it down
35-21.
in the outline.
Oh, you did? That's smart.
Yeah, this whole time. I was right.
Thanks for doing that with me.
All right.
Thanks.
Love that. Let us know down below in the comment section your score prediction. Matt's putting you on the spot. Do it right now. Let him know. And we'll hold you to it. If you get the correct score, let us know and we'll give you a shout out. If you're perfect on the score, we'll give you a shout out on all of our socials and on the next show on the post.
But if the comment is edited, you don't get the shout out.
Right.
oh, that's right.
We will
can
see that.
We
Yeah,
can see when
Gann's
it's
gonna use
edited.
his burner, and I don't want to mess with it.
He will. He will.
You got me.
He absolutely will. All right, let's look at the entire college football world real quick. Be sure, by the way, if you're in our college football pick'em page on ESPN, submit your picks before the games get going on Saturday. A couple games to look at. Oklahoma State, Baylor, big game in the Big 12. Oklahoma State coming off a bye week. Ryan's Baylor Bears at home in Waco.
Mason, I will be at this game. So
I knew you would be. I knew you would be.
Oh gosh.
Well, okay. So
Wonderful.
what are we seeing from this game, guys? Who you got in this game? I'm trying to get the spread for you guys because I know it's on our pick'em page.
I got. I mean, I'm picking Baylor.
You're picking Baylor. Okay.
That's
Why
my-
are you picking Baylor? Why are you picking Baylor
I
besides
just
that?
trust. I just trust Aranda, guys. I think he's a fantastic coach, and I think their defense is strong. And I think Shapen hasn't looked amazing this year, but they're at home, and I just feel like they're going to have a big game.
Okay.
So Mason, I found a line.
Yes,
It's currently
thank you.
minus. It's currently -2, and it's not a part of our pickup.
Yes,
So-
I just noticed that, and I was going to say that out loud.
But
So
it's
thank you, Mark.
Baylor
Yes.
-2 at home. Generally, home field advantage is considered a 3-point advantage. So you would assume neutral teams, a home team would get a -3.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma State's getting a point by that kind of logic. It's kind of interesting. I guess they think Oklahoma State's, a tinge better maybe, but
Yeah.
being at home is being at home, man.
Yeah. I think
Um,
Oklahoma State wins the game outright. I think they're the better team. I wasn't convinced that Baylor's the team we thought they were after what they showed last week. I don't trust them. And Oklahoma State coming off a bye week. It's Mike Gundy. I'm sure they'll have something dialed up. Give me Oklahoma State. By the way, Frat Loops back in first, 25-15.
Good job, Colin.
First place, barely ahead of M. Morris 94's picks. He's 24-16. Mark, you're in third. I'm in fourth.
No way, really?
Good
Yeah,
job, you
Mark's-
guys.
Mark's in third with 22 and
Nice.
17. I'm 21 and 19.
They
Um,
Cullen, you and me, let's move to Vegas, man.
Yeah,
Let's
Colin's out here.
get a
Colin's out here
flat.
making money. Patrick, what do you see from this game, brother?
Completely agree with you, Mason. I didn't like the way Baylor looked last week. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State as well.
Matt?
Yeah, I think better quarterback prevails. I definitely like Spencer Sanders, what I've seen from him so far this year over the Baylor quarterback. So give me Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Close game now.
Ryan already picked Baylor. So there we go.
Oh, I'm going
Mark.
Oklahoma State, by the way, to cover. At
You
least
are.
cover. Yeah, +2.
Yeah.
All the reasons you said. Spencer Sanders.
Yeah, I interrupted you. I'm sorry, Mark. That's
No,
fine.
you're fine. He's a vet. I trust Dave Aranda. I also trust Mike Gundy. That dude is established and always brings an offense ready to go. And I think that defense still has guys, right? Jim Knowles left, but I can't name you an OSU defender that got drafted. So I know they still have something.
Malcolm Rodriguez. But like,
oh shit, he's really good too.
yeah, he's good. He's good. He's starting
Right.
for the Lions.
We'll cut it.
We will get it.
I can't wait to come back next week and tell you guys you were wrong.
Alrighty, let's see it.
Man, you want to go ahead and do a little sick'em for us?
Sick'em tea out here.
Yeah, sick'em tea, man. Gotta love it. All right, Alabama at Arkansas. Number 2, Alabama at Arkansas. I think Arkansas is like
16.5 according to the pick'em.
16.5 according to the pick'em. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mark.
17 in real life now.
All right, so what do you guys got in this game? Who you got?
Again, upset alert.
Wait, did you say Alabama's favored by 16.5
Alabama,
points?
16.5
Yeah.
point favorite in
It doesn't do
Fayetteville.
noise.
In Fayetteville?
Yeah.
Ooh, man. I mean, that is a lot of points for an Alabama team that hasn't looked great this year. Arkansas, bad luck last week with the field goal that literally hit the top of the field goal. I mean, that's college football in a nutshell for you. That is nuts. So I think they bounce back. I don't think they win it. I mean, that's a lot of points. I think Arkansas will cover the points. I think Alabama will win a close one.
I think Arkansas covers, but they lose. Sadly, I don't like the point spread. I think it's big, but I don't think Arkansas wins this game, dude. They had Texas A&M dead to rights and they lost them. And then the week before against Missouri State, their defense looked absolutely dreadful. And I feel like Bryce Young is going to pick them apart in the secondary. And I don't know if Arkansas can score with them because for whatever reason, Kendall Briles is like scared to call plays now. He used to not be, and now he is. So I don't know. Arkansas to cover, but to lose. Ryan.
You'd think that's a weird Thanksgiving at the Briles house when Jeff Levy comes in and he's the owner of a top 3 offense the last 3 years running, and Kendall Briles is not. That's tough. He married into that family and it's better.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough look.
I agree.
Art calls Levy son. Too. Bet he calls him
I
son.
agree
too.
with Mason. Again, I agree with both of you guys. I think that Arkansas will lose the game, but they will cover.
Okay. Who else we got?
I've got an upset alert. I think Arkansas is going to win this one.
That
Like you
away,
said.
Pat.
Yeah, they had A&M dead to rights and they didn't finish it off. I think
No.
they're going to learn a lesson from that and they're going to finish off Bama. Bama does not look good. Bama, in my opinion, hasn't looked good for a while. They almost lost to Auburn when Auburn's quarterback could barely walk. I still remember that. They should have gone to the SEC championship game. All right.
Arkansas
Bama's going to lose.
Arkansas played Alabama super tough last year in Tuscaloosa. And this is essentially like basically the same Arkansas team besides Traylon Burks.
It's a better one.
It looks, I like the way you think, Patrick. I like the way you think. And so does my dad. I guarantee you he does. All right. NC State.
Again, Mace.
Did I miss you again?
Yeah.
Bro.
And you're gonna hate
Bro,
you're gonna hate me.
I know. I'm
I'm going Bama.
Yeah.
I'm going Bama.
You're taking them to
I
cover.
I also
How
think Bryce
dare
Young
you.
is gonna cut up that defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played A&M close. Who's that? Not worried about that one.
Dude, A&M's going to lose to Mississippi State this week.
Yeah.
But like,
Jimbo's just got to survive this year before the talent they've bought comes to town
dude,
and can really put some work in.
Yeah.
But
And
Yeah,
really
Mark,
mess things up
Mark.
even more.
Mark, it is not about the bag.
No, it is when it's just in general, right? But
Just kidding.
but we cannot just go to, oh, another school paid them more money, that's why we lost that recruit, because every school is going to pay them more money than OU can.
Yeah.
I was
NC
just
State.
pushing your buttons.
I know. I just wanted to clarify also.
NC State at Clemson. Clemson, 6.5-point favorite at home. Clemson, number 5 in the country, undefeated. Who you got, Matt?
This is a tough one. NC State really hasn't played anybody. They did play Texas Tech a few weeks ago. And they beat Texas this week, but NC State's always, or at least this year, has been predicated on defense, only giving up about 260 yards. But on the other side, I think Clemson and the quarterback DJ, not going to even try his last name, so don't even, has looked a lot better this year. The defense, not so much, giving up. They had to go to double overtime last week to Wake Forest, giving up 48 plus points. But DJ looks a lot better. They're playing at home. Not a lot of teams going to Death Valley. So I will take Clemson to win, but I think NC State will cover. It's 6.5 right now. I think a touchdown is about right. It's going to be within it. It's going to be a very good game, but I'll take Clemson winning just with DJ, how he's playing this year.
Okay, Mark.
Give me the points with NC State. Something we need to consider is, see Charlie back there, guys.
Yeah.
Something we need to consider is the storm hitting the coast and the weather conditions adding a lot of variance to this game. Variance always serves the lesser ranked team, serves the underdog.
Loki
So
taught us that.
give me the points.
Yep. Ryan.
What did you say, Mason?
He said variance, so I said Loki taught us that.
Yeah.
Wrong variant.
I know.
I thought that's what you
Wrong
said.
word,
Yeah.
actually.
Going over my head.
You said it
I
with a
know.
C,
Patrick doesn't know.
a
Just
CE.
skip
Skip over it.
doesn't know.
Skip over it. Go. Ryan. Who you got?
Yeah. I was going to take Clemson, and then Mark just convinced me to take NC State. So if that tells
Love
you
that.
anything about how much I have looked into this game, that's about it.
Love that.
I don't really trust Clemson right now. I thought they didn't look great last week. But I honestly, we're still at the point in the year where I don't know how good anybody is. I still can't tell. I don't know how good NC State is, right? Like, they played Texas Tech, just like Gann said, but I don't really know. So I'm interested to see with the weather conditions and all of that, like how this game goes, and I'll take NC State with the points.
It's funny how you say that we don't know how good anybody is. I can tell you who's not good, and it's Clemson. So give me NC State to cover. I think NC State covers this game at 6.5, and I think they win outright. I don't think Clemson's worth a damn. I don't think they're the number 5 team in the country. I think they're fraudulent. I don't believe in them at all. I just don't. Patrick.
That's my problem with this matchup is both of these teams are frauds. NC State's not the 10th best team in the country. Like, that's a joke. Both are frauds. Clemson has probably more experience in bigger games. I'm going to go with Clemson.
Guys, we're gonna get so many angry comments.
Did I
Just
miss
calling everyone a fraud out of nowhere?
NC State is
when
not.
our team just lost to an unranked team at home last week?
Hey,
we're for
they're
real.
ranked now. I don't want to hear a word about it. They're ranked.
We usually come in and we're like, yeah, I have reasons and I thought about this, and now everyone's a fraud.
Yeah.
No, Clemson's,
Mason and Pat. I'll tell you one
trash.
thing. Mason's like, this one's a fraud. Pat comes in. Well, actually,
Those NC State.
fraud.
I didn't see the NC State one up coming.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's
You
why
gotta be
we
ready
keep
for
him
that.
on. You got to keep us on our toes. I like
We're
it.
always pushing it.
Always pushing it. All right, let me find the line. Kentucky at Ole Miss. Kentucky 6.5-point underdog as the number 7 team in the country going to the Grove. A Grove, by the way, that Lane Kiffin says is not full enough. The fans don't show up for games. Challenge the fans to show up for this game. I will be interested to see how the Ole Miss faithful respond. Because of that, give me Mark Stoops and Kentucky to cover 6.5. I think they're better than Ole Miss. So that's just why I'm picking them. I think they're the better football team. Doesn't matter where you play. I just think they are.
I
I'm
agree.
just going to quickly agree with you. I think they're better, and I don't think that environment gets there.
No. Matt?
Yeah, when I don't know a lot about teams, I always predicate who's got the best quarterback. Mark actually hit this very early on in the year. I forgot which podcast it was, but Will Levis, the quarterback at Kentucky, probably future NFL prospect. I like him
First
way
rounder.
better. For possibly, we'll see, against the USC transfer and Jackson Dart. I mean, the highlights and games I have seen of Ole Miss, I just haven't really been impressed with Jackson Dart. And they even got to transfer Zach Evans, the running back from the team we're playing, TCU. He's not even the rushing leader for the team. I think I like what Kentucky has done, especially since they've already played a ranked game against Florida this year. I like Kentucky a lot better. I think they win and cover the points as well.
Love it. Let us know down below who you're picking in the comments section. Where you ranked right now in the pick'em. If you're in there right now, let us know down below in the comments section. Time to circle the wagons.
I've got Kentucky.
Patrick, dude, I am so terrible. Patrick, I'm sorry,
It's fine.
man.
It's fine.
You know who's a fraud?
We
Me as a
got
host.
Mason.
No.
We got Mason all flustered.
I'm just lost right now, man. I don't know what is happening. Dolphins play tomorrow, but that's where my mind is.
As it should be.
All right.
Best team in the league.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. All right, moving on. Circle the wagons. Matt Gann. We got a game going live right now, by the way, on a Wednesday night. Matt is going to give us an update for what's going on.
Was live.
So it's
But
already
weren't
over.
happy.
Yikes.
It is already over. Not a great sign since
Yeah.
we were talking off podcast about it. But do want to give some quick updates. There's only a couple of programs really playing currently. Golf last week, Monday, Tuesday of this week, played in the Ernest Intercollegiate Tournament up in Toledo, Ohio. Dealt with a lot of bad weather throughout, so it had a lot of different delays, but eventually got through. Not tied, but stand alone at third place at +11. Only two teams in front of them, Texas Tech at +1 and Georgia Tech at +7. Some other notable teams behind them, Virginia, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State University. So we had 5 guys in the top 30. The number 1 guy for OU, Jake Holbrook, he was tied 9th and was +2 overall after 3 rounds. And another guy, Jay Summey, tied 12th, +3 over 3 rounds. So not a bad outing for the second tournament for the OU men's golf. Hopefully they can continue that momentum because they just keep churning out some All-American honorees on the team every single year. So hopefully they can keep that momentum moving forward. Now, what we just talked about is actually just behind me not too long ago, just ended, was OU women's volleyball. We talked about last week. They were opening up Big 12 play, their first game, number 1 in the nation, Texas, got swept 3-0. The sets were close, within about 4 or 5 points each of the sets. So definitely very competitive. But, when we're coming to Big 12 play, going on the road against the number 1 team, that can be a very difficult thing. Always down horns, always.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, Kansas comes into Norman, sweeps the girls 3-0. So last 2 games, not great. I even watched some of the game before the podcast because I just haven't seen very much OU women's volleyball. Obviously, they've had a great start to the year. Hey, go to ESPN, Sooner Vision Plus. We love to see it. That's where a lot of the OU teams you can see and watch if you haven't seen them before. So watch one of the game. I'm not going to say I'm an OU volleyball expert, but there's definitely points where the sets got away from him. So unfortunately got swept again, and they will play. Let me see the schedule upcoming for them. Pull it up here. They have upcoming against West Virginia, and that will be this weekend on Saturday. So hopefully we can get our first Big 12 win for the Oklahoma volleyball team. And then want to go over to my co-host. He does not know this yet, but I'm going to turn it over for Patrick for the last segment. OU women's soccer. This is his team. Patrick, lay it on me. What have we
Let's
seen?
do it. A little bit of a surprise.
Wow.
No worries
He's
here.
ready.
Oklahoma
He's ready.
women's
He's got
soccer
this.
on a 5-game win streak, guys. This is the longest win streak still since 2016. You absolutely love to see it. We were playing amazing. 10 different players have scored this season already. We've won our first Big 12 opener game against Baylor 2-0. Incredible result. We play Iowa State and Texas Tech this week. Hopefully we continue with the momentum. And lastly, Olivia Ramey, our goalie, who is a freshman. We've got a lot of good freshmen coming in. She won the Big 12 Freshman of the Week 2 weeks in a row now, absolutely dominating and playing incredible. Thanks, Matt.
Wow.
Patrick, that was
Wow.
fantastic.
When did
And they actually
Patrick-
will. Go
When
ahead,
did
Tash.
Patrick become so good at this?
He might
So
might be
good.
fighting to take over my segment. This might be Circle the Wag Hurts. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But they do play tonight against Iowa State. So if you are listening, the women are playing tonight. I think they should be on Sooner Vision when I saw the schedule, but hopefully they'll be playing, or at least where you can see them. And then OU women's men in tennis, who started off really well last year, will have their first indoor tournament, All-American Championships. The men play in Tulsa, so Mason, maybe boots on the ground this weekend. Or no,
Probably
so it's October 9th, and women's tennis will be in North Carolina. So still a few weeks away, but definitely coming. And that is the short scoop on the Circle the WaGanns.
Love it, baby.
Another great Circle the Wagons.
Just
it had a
informative.
So glad
feature.
it's back.
Yeah.
What is this,
So glad it's
DJ
back.
Khaled?
Yeah. God did.
I got
Matt
to thank
did.
my
Matt
co-host.
did.
This is all Patrick right here for putting him on the spot and delivering a fantastic performance. Great job.
Well, once again, thank you, Matt. Tough act to follow, but Ryan, we need
It's like putting Wayne on a verse.
I know. Gosh. Yeah. Here comes Rick Ross. Ryan, let's sorry, that was mean. Ryan, I want to know what we need to watch. What we need to watch this week. Let me know.
Oh my God.
Here comes Jack
Not your
Johnson.
best segue, but maybe your best segue.
Yeah, right. I know.
Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm back after I think it's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these. So we are gonna talk about a TV show on HBO that I want you guys all to watch if you haven't already. And it is called Industry. So
I haven't.
I am looking at all of you guys, and it looks like none of you have seen this.
Hey,
which is
you have
just
not led
my
me
favorite
astray,
thing
so I'm all
my-
ears. Like you,
my
you haven't
favorite
led
thing
me
in the world.
astray.
And I'm
I've
excited about
seen
this one
trailers.
because Patrick actually might watch it because it's real,
Heck
or
yeah.
quote unquote real,
Put your
quote
phone
unquote
down.
real. There's no like fantasy dragons in this one, Pat. I promise.
That's good.
So Industry on HBO. It is. It just concluded its second season. So each season is 8 episodes each. Just wrapped up season 2 last week. It stars a bunch of people that you probably haven't heard of, but then a couple people that you probably have. So Myha'la Herrold plays the lead character in this. She's kind of a newcomer to the TV and movie scene. She was in another movie this year as well called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That was really well received, and she was really great in that. Marissa Abella, Ken Leung, who you guys have probably seen before. And then J2 Plus comes in season 2 in just an incredible role. So some really good actors in this, and I'll get into some of that toward the end. But the plot of this show is really, it brings together a bunch of different like postgraduates. So they undergrad degrees, they just finished their undergrad degrees, and they're basically in the investment banking world of London in a very, very high top bank called Pierpoint. And season 1 really goes about
They're not
like
the top.
What?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
No.
What'd you say?
Nothing. We can move on. It didn't land. No one heard
Okay.
it.
So Pierpoint is one of the best banks in London in this world. And these are all postgraduates who are fighting for a spot. They basically have to perform, and there is like a RIF, which means reduction in force at like the end of the year. And that's basically all season 1 leads up to, is the RIF. Season 2 goes a different direction, but you need to watch season 1 to really understand that. I'm going to start with Barry, the entry here. There is a lot of business / investment banking jargon that gets thrown around in this show, which basically means if you don't know anything about banking or anything about investment banking, sometimes you feel like you can get a little lost.
Okay,
because
so
they're
we
throwing
have an
out all
expert
of these.
on the podcast.
yeah.
So
So
hold on.
my-
Is it like watching The Big Short?
yeah. Okay, that
Yes.
was
Yes.
okay.
It's similar to that.
All right.
Yeah,
Do they
it's similar
do
to
any
that.
explaining for you, or is it just
No,
like you're
not
diving
really.
in?
And you kind of dive in, and I'm going to get to some of this in the high points, but the writing is really well done where you don't feel like you need to know everything to understand like the motivations of the characters. But they're throwing these super large words at you that half the time I'm like, I don't know what any of this shit means, but they're acting the hell out of it, and the writing's really good. So but it's very interesting concept. It's like the floor of investment banking, and like you guys probably know these terms better than I do, but there's like a FX team, and then there's like a C something team. I don't know these words.
Don't know what you're going for on that one. A lot of C letters or C words.
Yeah, a lot of C words and
A lot of C
investment
words out
banking, I
there,
guess.
if you know what I mean.
Especially because this takes place in London, so but I will say that is not like that big of a barrier to entry. I'll say the biggest one is like this is a very adult show. Like there's some pretty heavy drug use, there's some pretty heavy other things in this, and if you are not comfortable with some of this stuff,
What's the other stuff?
It can get a little hairy.
Yeah, how are you going to say
Do you want
drug
me to
use
say it?
and then not say sex? How are you going to say drug use and not say the word sex?
Well, because they literally just I don't know. I didn't want to go too adult on this pod,
That's fine.
And no, there is a lot of like sexual relationships that are like power driven and very interesting relationships between people, and just kind of how it's a look on like how this world can like deteriorate somebody from like the inside, and what you need to be able to handle if you're going to be successful in it.
Okay.
And so anyway, that is barrier to entry. High points here, I've said this earlier, but the writing on this show is so good. And I mean that with like it will throw all these large words at you. They talk really quickly. Sometimes you don't know what the hell is going on, but at the end of the day, you understand the characters and you understand why they're making the decisions they're making, and you're following them along this path. And I'm going to be honest with you, this reminds me a lot of Succession. If any of you guys have seen Succession, which I think is one of the best shows on TV. And it reminds me of that because most of these people, this isn't really a spoiler, most of these people are really terrible people, just like awful human beings, like awful individuals. And it kind of tells a story about how you have to be that way to succeed in an environment like this, and how it can pull you down and drag you down if you're not like that. And it's like spins a normal, in normal shows, you're looking for that protagonist to root for, right? Mild Harold's character is like a terrible person. that's again not a spoiler. You find that out like in the very first couple episodes, but you start to understand the motivations behind it. You start to understand the intentionality behind the performance and the intentionality behind the writing, and it just turns into something really great. And season 2 just ended on a super high note. Acting is top notch here. And the writers of the show, the two writers, they're young guys one's out of London, I think, and one is out of like America, New York, probably. They were both in the investment banking world for about a year before it just like drove them out because of the environment that it's in. So it feels like they can say some of this because they've lived the experience. And yes, it's dramatized. Yes, it's a little intense in certain circumstances. But it's one of the best shows that I've seen this year, and would highly recommend to anybody who wants to watch it. So that is my must watch.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's move on.
Must watch alert.
Meow, 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 meow. Kind of lagged. It's all right. It worked though. It worked. All right. Let's move on to our final segment of the week. It's our PGP MVPs of the week. This is where we tell you our MVP who had an MVP caliber week. Let us know down below. Comment along with us who your MVP of the week is. Pat, I want to start with you. Go ahead, brother.
I've got my guy, Eric Gray. He had a great last 2 weeks. The starting position at OU running back was his to lose, and he has proven that he should not lose it.
Love it. I love how succinct Pat is. It makes me very happy.
So
Yeah,
quick.
he's so.
especially after me talking for like 10 minutes.
Hey, don't worry about it, man.
I'm worse than you about it, man.
Matt, what do you got, brother?
Yeah, I wish you would have picked me first. It would have Ryan would have translated right into me. I'm sticking with movies. I'm going with my boy Kevin Feige for giving us Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds and coming out of retirement, Hugh Jackman. Okay, Ryan, it's not about Kevin Feige. It's just more about Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, who just have the best relationship of all time. Wolverine is coming out of retirement, and Deadpool is one of my favorite franchises. It is hilarious. Ryan Reynolds kills me, so I'm really excited about Deadpool 3. Not necessarily Kevin Feige, just for him allowing it. Ryan, jeez, man.
Ryan's
I was trying to help
objection
you out.
is Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
You don't like Hugh Jackman? Have you
I
seen
didn't
The
never-
Greatest
I didn't
Showman?
ever say
Bro,
I love
bro.
Hugh Jackman.
Have you seen The Greatest Showman?
Have you seen Logan and how good it is and how it ends? That's all
No, I'm
we
saying-
need. You don't need
I'm-
anything.
That's for another day. Deadpool 3.
They answered the question. They literally posted a Twitter video today that the Deadpool 3 takes like place 6 years before Logan.
How
So
is
yes,
that
he
gonna?
dies.
There's gonna be some like bullshit reasoning that they're gonna give that
We're not
makes
doing
sense
this.
on
Whoa,
why
Tyson, I
they
didn't
Telling
never.
you right
Hey,
now.
Tyson, man. Whoa,
Telling
man.
you right
Let's
now,
just
we're
get my
not doing
MVP,
this.
okay?
My MVP of the week is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was at the podium today, and after the Broncos got a win, granted an ugly one, against San Francisco on Sunday night. Was that Sunday night? I believe it was.
Yes.
They during the Manning cast, Eli Manning said that they should have paid the Denver punter what they paid Russell Wilson, kind of making a joke that Russell Wilson hasn't really had a good year or short-lived career at Denver right now. Well, Russell was asked about it today at the podium, and Russell said, who, Chad Powers, making fun of how Eli dressed up as the Penn State walk-on quarterback. He said, I think I'm 3-0 against Chad Powers. That's an all-time flex. That's an
Nice.
all-time flex. That's literally all you have to say when people make fun of you. Granted, Russell Wilson, weird dude. He's a weird dude. He's got some
Trying to-
weird things that go on in his life, but that was
Yeah,
a
have
cool
you seen
flex.
the- have you
it's
seen
the
the
first time
Subway?
since he was a rookie that Russell Wilson was cool?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Guys,
I
the
saw
Subway
his
commercial.
his
Come
little
on,
Subway
guys.
TikTok
Come on.
or whatever that almost took him out of my MVP rankings because of that, because it was super weird. But
But also, Eli wins. He's got more Super Bowls, so just
I
saying.
mean,
Eli
he
Manning.
didn't beat Russell to win any of those. So no, I disagree. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a posthumous MVP to Coolio, a rapper
R.I.P.
best known for the song "Gangsta's Paradise." I just found out during the pod that he
Yeah.
has passed.
I
I
just
didn't
saw that.
know that.
This
is like
just happened.
Breaking news alert.
I'm breaking
Yeah.
news on the pod. No, you are not going to do an alert noise about someone dying.
All right, yeah, that's fair.
Jesus.
All right. I shouldn't be laughing. I apologize.
Really, really sad. I don't know every single song that the dude made, but just sad. And Gangsta's Paradise is an absolute banger.
It is.
And we all love that one. Even if you don't know it by its name, you know it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And really sucks, man.
Sadness.
Coolio,
Coolio, MVP.
MVP.
This is that's a great pick.
Ryan.
Yeah. So mine is the NFL in London because my team, the Vikings, are playing in London this weekend. And I've just always loved the idea of them having some games in London. And I think it opens up what makes NFL so fun for like America, and it opens it up to other individuals in other countries to enjoy it. The people in London, I don't know how many of them are actually like from London versus how many fly over from the States to see these games, but they show up for these games. They get excited about these games. And I think that's really cool. And I hope they continue to do that and they expand their reach even further.
I'll tell you right now, it's people from Europe. People come all across Europe to go because my
Good.
buddy lives in
Good.
Amsterdam and has been to the NFL Europe game a couple times. And he says it's amazing. It's an amazing experience each time. Like they go all out, and it's like people from all over Europe who go and check it out. So
even though they have to watch like the Falcons playing the Jags half the time.
I know, right? Yeah. Saw the Dolphins have played that game a couple times too, and they were like dog crap.
They've got some good teams coming in this year, though. Like
they do. I
think
they kind of finally were like, all right, we got to like throw them a bone here. Maybe
if we want to do something out here.
Yeah, right. No kidding. But yeah,
keep throwing the Jets out there.
That's our MVPs of the week. Let us know down below who your MVP of the week is. And with that, episode 38 in the books. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. Get us however you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Heard there's been some issues with Apple Podcasts for other podcasts. We haven't really seen those yet. So if you're an Apple Podcast listener, keep on keeping on. I'm sure it'll be fine. Also, make your college football pick and plays. I wanted to make sure to mention that. Try to keep on keeping on with that. I feel like I'm missing something. Dang it. Oh, post-game pod coming up on Sunday. We will have a post-game pod for you following the TCU game. Haven't decided when we're going to do that post-game pod yet, but we'll have that out for you on Sunday. We'll have it for you on Saturday regardless, people. So be on the lookout for that. You guys blew up the one last week. I think it was because everyone was sad and they just wanted to hear us complain. But that's fair. I get it.
Misery.
So that's company. Yeah, I know. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Be sure to like, subscribe. Pat, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.